There's a hidden world called the Archipelago. There's someone trying to steal its magic. There are unicorns, dragons, and most importantly, the missing immortal. All coming up on this episode of Bookwards. Hi, I'm Sam, an 11-year-old who reads a lot.
And I'm Dana, his mom, who also reads a lot.
Welcome to Bookwards, where we read and discuss the best kids' books. We encourage our listeners to read the book before listening, especially because there are always spoilers in our episodes. To make sure you never miss new episodes and find out what we're reading next, follow us on Instagram and X at BookwardsPod.
Okay, so as always, we start with a super quick summary of what happens in the book. So in Impossible Creatures by Katherine Rundell, there are two kids, Christopher and Mal. Christopher is the guardian of a hidden world called the Archipelago.
Or his grandfather is.
Well, his grandfather is, yes, correct. Where a lot of magical creatures live. And they're sustained by magic, which in this book is called the Glimmery. And there's a girl, Mal, who he meets because she shows up in the real world, his world, running away from a murderer who kills her aunt, who takes care of her. And she tells Christopher he has to come back with her to the Archipelago to help save the Glimmery. So he goes with her to the Archipelago, and they go from island to island. The Archipelago consists of a bunch of different islands, and they basically go from island to island on a series of quests to try to get to the tree, which is the magical tree from which the Glimmery comes. And in the process, we learn a major development about Mal, and in the end, they do restore the Glimmery from the evil forces that are trying to steal its magic. All right.
So let's go beginning to end. What did you think of the beginning?
It took me a while to get into this book, actually. Usually with action-packed books, you read the first page and you're like, you're dying to turn every page. For me, this was slow going at the beginning. What about you?
Right. So I thought they should have had, when the books have those prefaces at the beginning of the book,
preface,
yeah, page, where it shows a scene that makes you really want to read the book, so you can get onto this part.
Yeah.
Thought it should have had that, because the beginning, it was mid.
Yeah.
It wasn't great.
I agree. I think it started picking up once they meet the two main supporting characters, which are Nighthand and Arian. So it takes them a while to get to... I
actually even think it was after that. What happened when they meet Nighthand? They just went to that Senate place and met Arian. Nothing happened. No action happened. Once they met Arian, then they started going island to island, and they started fighting creatures and meeting Jack, the small dragon. And that was when the action started to pick up. And that was when I started enjoying this book.
I agree. But that was a third of the way in, maybe even more, maybe halfway in. So definitely slow going at the beginning of this book. I agree. And especially because the beginning of the book, we really only get Mal and Christopher. That's who we're going for back and forth between their points of view and their experiences, and then them together. And they're both, even though they are the main characters of this book, I didn't find them to be super interesting.
The truth is that Christopher just had no personality.
Right, so what's interesting is that even in the first half of the book, there is a lot of action. There's a murderer who's chasing Mal, who kills her aunt, actually, which I was surprised by how, not super sad I was when that whole thing happened. There are other books where, it's an orphan... The main character is an orphan, and you're very sad for them. You feel their sadness, their pain, their misery if they have a tough childhood. Here, it was very all matter of fact. She's raised by an aunt, the aunt gets killed, the murderer is coming after them. None of this felt... It should have been very moving and emotional, but it wasn't.
Also, what happened to Christopher's mom? We have no idea what happened to his mom.
I know.
It seems to be a dark thing happened to her, but we have no idea what happened to her.
Right, we know...
That could have been a good plot twist at the end of the book.
Yeah, we know his dad. We get to see his grandfather a little bit. We don't know either of them, actually. We get very little of either of them, but we have no idea what happened to his mom, which is interesting because his grandfather's the guardian, and he's going to be the next guardian of the Archipelago, which means I thought there was going to be some big reveal about his mom, and maybe there will be in future books because I think this is a series, but But yeah, we have no idea what happened to his mom, who I guess should have been the guardian after the grandfather.
So this is kind of one of the books where I thought the supporting characters were actually better than the main characters.
I agree, which explains, by the way, why the book really picks up once the supporting characters enter the scene and they start going from island to island, having more adventure. Mal, I don't think there's a lot of depth. It's called I don't think there's a lot of depth to Mal or Christopher. Their friendship is very nice. They obviously click right away, and at the end we see how devastated Christopher is to lose Mal. So their friendship is very lovely, but not very deep. Like, I didn't feel it that much.
Right, true. That is true.
I didn't see them, like, how they developed deep love for each other.
I thought a bigger relationship than Mal and Christopher even was Mal and her griffin, Gelfin,
yeah. Yes, she loved her griffin.
She loved her griffin, but, like, she didn't do that to Christopher. Like, we could see the feelings. Like, it was actually a little emotional when the griffin died.
It was definitely very sad.
A little sad.
Much more sad than when Aunt Leonore died.
Right. Like, she has no relationship with her aunt. She didn't even cry when her aunt died.
she had a relationship. We were told she had a relationship and was very sad.
We don't
see it. Right. Like, you can't just tell us this. It should have been demonstrated more. I agree. But so let's shift gears to talk about Nighthand and Irian. So Nighthand, I think, is a great character. I think he's funny. He's fun. I like the way he talks. He has a lot of bravado. He's strong. He's brave. He's fearless. He's a berserker, which is a cool concept.
I like that. I like that she put that in. That's a good concept.
That he has no fear. Like, he physically doesn't experience fear, which was very cool. And he has this burgeoning relationship with Irian. It's clear that they start to feel romantic feelings towards each other. I did love Ratwin. Can we talk about Ratwin? I think Ratwin...
Yeah, she was like a mini... He was like a side to the side character.
The Ratatoshka?
Yeah, she was not even a side character. Nighthand was a side character. She was the side character to the side character.
I'm assuming she's a she. I don't even know that. But
right.
I think she had I thought she was funny and had a good character. I love that she was the best sailor in all of the archipelago. I
couldn't imagine like a rat being the best sailor.
I know, that's why I thought it was good.
As I read the book, I'm trying to imagine it.
That's why I thought it was good.
So hard.
But anyway, so I thought Nighthand and Irian and Ratwin were all great characters. I like Jacques, the mini dragon.
Why did you like Irian so much? Like, we don't see much about Irian either.
She's level-headed. She is very intelligent, so she's helpful in that way. She's very brave. She develops this really nice relationship with Nighthand. Other stuff I liked a lot in this book. Number one, I thought it was very magical to open the front cover of the book and see the map. The map was... Okay. I know a lot of books have maps in the front, but...
Like, really? Do I need to see that? Like, I've read a lot of books with maps. I don't read the maps. Like,
I referenced this map all the time when they were...
People.
Wait, you didn't open the front to see the map when they were going from place to place?
Actually, I did. I remember after I finished the whole book.
Yeah.
And I was reading, the back pages had all, like, the creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept going to the map to see, like, where exactly they were placed and where Mal and Christopher went through. Because I knew which creatures they encountered.
In each island.
On their trip.
Mm-hmm. I was referencing the map throughout. And I thought the map added, like, when you open the book, it felt very magical. So I like the map.
Side question.
Yeah.
What animal or what creature did you think was the scariest out of all the creatures they faced?
Oh, the scariest? The Carcadons, for sure.
Or was it the manticores? They were pretty scary to me. I think those were my scariest.
They were scary, but I thought the Carcadons were super terrifying. Like, they smelled horrible. They're galloping everywhere with their huge horns, and if they pierce you, you basically are not going to survive unless you're Nighthand.
Yeah, but, like, you saw a picture. I forgot what page it was on. There was a picture of the manticores, and they looked terrifying. Like, they looked like like a statue with the face of a human that could fly.
I know, they're very scary too. I agree.
It looked terrifying.
But that, by the way, how often are you terrified when you read a book? Not that often. So she did it super well. I found
Right.
two creatures
I
that
like
were very
that she
scary.
put mini pictures like on some of the pages. We
Yeah.
got to see Fran, I forgot his name, the villain.
Oh, Francesco Sforza?
Yeah, him. We got to see him as like a tree in one of those pictures.
Yeah, the illustrations were nice.
Yeah,
that was well done.
Those were good.
And I agree, those creatures were terrifying. I thought Mal's ability to fly with the coat was a cool element. And we get that element at the very beginning.
I like that. That was kind of like that's how she dies in the end. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, exactly. So it opens with her flying, and then it closes with her flying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
She's literally remembered as a flying girl.
Yeah.
That was a big element in the book, actually. This coat.
Yeah. This exactly. It opens with that, and it's possibly the most important element in the book. Her coat that allows her to fly. All right, so let's talk about the ending before we get to the rest of our segments. So, the ending and how this all comes to fruition. So, number one was Mal being the immortal. Shocking.
No.
It was obvious from like a mile away. It was so clear. The minute the Sphinxes tell them.
If you didn't see that coming, you have to read more books. So read the first 5 books and listen to our first 5 episodes.
Yeah, that was very, very clear. That was going to be Mal.
And once you read those first 5 books, you'll be able to see this coming.
Right. But then I thought that ending was very... What do you think of the ending? I thought it was very rushed. So first of all, you have Night Hand and Arian.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, exactly.
Very rushed, right?
Yeah, I thought it was very rushed. It was very quick.
Yeah, so super quick. Okay, so you have Arian and Night Hand sailing away. And they don't even re-enter the scene at all. So our favorite supporting characters,
they couldn't have shown up to save the day in the maze. That would have been cool.
That would have been cool, or even at the end, after Mal is gone.
Challenge in the maze, maybe.
I totally thought they were coming back.
At all.
The maze was the easiest.
Maze was like
the easiest ending maze ever. Yeah. This whole ending reminded me of Harry Potter. So first you have the maze, which was very similar to the Triwizard Tournament maze, although that one was a cooler, scarier maze than this one.
If you haven't read Harry Potter, go read them now.
This one, one creature shows up for a second, leaves, there's a hole, he figures out how to get around, over the hole, fine. Then at the end, he comes across our main villain. So we have a main villain who shows up for about...
And who is he?
What's his name?
Francesco
Sforza.
Someone. Right?
The least relevant villain I've read about in a long time. He shows up for 2 pages.
You know what would be cool? What if Night Hand was a villain? I don't know. Make someone the villain.
I thought it would be.
You know who I thought it was? I thought it was actually going to be Christopher's dad. I thought that would have been.
That would have been good.
Plot twist.
By the way, it would have been. Or the old lady, that evil rich old lady, maybe her.
Maybe even Christopher's mom.
That would have been insane.
That would have been a great plot
if she was the Guardian's daughter gone bad.
Right, that would have been a great
it would have been amazing. Instead, we get Francesco Sforza, who has grafted himself onto a tree just like Professor Quirrell and Voldemort.
I at least see some connections on way. He's like a descendant of Enzo da Vinci.
Right, yeah, there's this little backstory with Leonardo da Vinci having made the maze and gotten all the credit for making the maze when it really was his cousin Enzo who executed on his plans and created the maze. But anyway.
I mean, who cares?
Yeah, this was very...
bad.
I mean, and then you have...
I don't see how... I just threw out some ideas that this...
would have been better than this.
Could have done, yeah. If you actually took time and took 30 minutes to think through this ending, you could have made an insane plot twist here.
Yeah. Okay. So the villain was the least relevant, shortest appearance villain in a long time that we've seen in many books. It felt very rushed. The maze wasn't scary.
And how many pages is that villain actually in?
We can't even remember his name. And it was very reminiscent of Harry Potter, but not done that well, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But talk about Mal. What do you think about how the villain was vanquished?
It was sad.
Right, so that part was good.
It was sad, especially because it's a series, or it seems like a series, because it says book 1, you would think that she would, like,
so I think
keep being a character in the series, but apparently not. Apparently, I think this is what separates Christopher as the main character. The fact, like, that this book seems like a series, and Mal will not be in book 2, clearly.
Yeah, so I agree. I think,
and it seems like a different immortal just got born at the end of the book.
right, so I think Mal, that's going to be the thing. The immortal, because the immortal remembers everything that every previous immortal experienced, like the new immortal, the baby, is Mal, and also all the previous immortals. So it's pretty clear that Christopher is going to meet the new immortal.
And bond with this.
Yeah, exactly. Bond with this baby new immortal.
And hopefully get some personality while he's at it.
Okay, yes. Yeah, that too. But so I think it was Mal dying at the end, sacrificing herself to kill Sforza. That was well done. I didn't see it coming. I didn't think that she would.
And even when we saw that she was doing it, you'd think somehow, some way,
she would come back.
Yeah, she would come back, or like.
Well, she is. She'll come back as the next immortal.
Night Hand would pop out of the sky and save her, and
right.
not that Francisco guy.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I thought that part of the ending was unexpected and well done and sad and emotional and evocative, but the rest of it was not. And now it's time to book in a rating. We each rate the book on a scale of 1 to 10, and then we combine both of our ratings for the book's final score. I'm going to give the book a 7.8. What are you giving it?
7.4.
Okay, that's not, I mean,
yeah, it's
a pretty good, that's a good rating.
I think this is my second lowest rating.
So it's a combined 15.2, which actually puts this book 5th out of the 6 books that we read.
Sure, that's low.
It's low. Well, it's low in the ranking, but we've read some great books.
Right. This seems like it was like every other book that I've read. So it starts with a kid going on a quest, or 2 kids going on a quest. There's another world. Harry Potter vibes, by the way, so far.
No, but also every book.
Right. They have to go fight people. And then there's some plot twist at the end. And the book's over. It's either a series and it goes to book 2 and the same thing happens in book 2. Or it's like done. The book's series is over.
Right. So even though this one is in the window of every single Barnes & Nobles right now and has, I think, a very beautiful cover that makes it feel like it would be more magical than others, it really is fairly similar to a lot of the other books that we've seen. But it's formulaic. It follows a very set formula. Kids, quest, otherworld, magical creatures, villain, vanquish the villain, the end.
And now it's time for the Bookwords Book Awards, where we keep a running tally of the books with the best main characters, coolest supporting characters, most awesome settings, craziest plot twists, and of course, most villainous villains. Best main character. First off, we decided because of the fact that Mal just died, meaning we think Christopher is the main character.
Yeah.
So he's the one that we're going to use for the main character.
Right, she's gone.
And
it also, the book starts with him and the book ends with him. So even though the two of them are super important, we're going to he edges her out a bit as the main character.
Right. So I think Christopher is clearly a number 5.
Out of 6.
Yeah, not even close. Top 4 are way up. And Theo Boone's like, no, he's at the bottom. Christopher is number 5. He's
in our
Christopher
list.
got some personality. He could be up to number 2, number 1, but he just doesn't have personality. So he's going to number 5.
Okay, best supporting character is clearly Mal is the main supporting character in this book.
It's clear.
We're going to put her in 3rd place. She's behind Erica Hale from Spy School and Annabeth from Percy Jackson because those two are very deep and well-established characters who play a super important role across many books.
The bottom 3 are just, I feel like they're always going to be the bottom 3. Like,
yeah, they're very...
not in the book.
Right. So as far as supporting characters go, Mal was strong. She was super critical to the action. She had a bunch of cool elements about her. We got to know her somewhat well, but she's not essential to the rest of the series. By the way, that might change if we were choosing the immortal as a concept as a supporting character. Then we would have to factor in like the new immortal. But it's Mal.
We get too little.
Yeah, we don't get to know a lot about Mal's backstory, her family.
Right,
So
we get
she's
too little of the immortal.
Okay. The setting. The best setting.
Archipelago.
Right. So for this one, we're actually putting the book in first place, which is that's a big deal over everybody else.
And especially now that we're up to episode 6, like episode 2, episode 3, that wasn't that big a deal. Like every book got like at least one number 1.
Yeah.
At this point, like it's not easy to get number 1.
Yeah. So I agree. But the Archipelago
especially with reading books like Holes and Percy Jackson and classics like that. And I thought Spy School was really good.
Yeah, but as far as setting goes, the Archipelago is a very fun, interesting, rich setting that has all the different islands, all the different creatures. It's a boat quest, so they're going from island to island. They're meeting lots of different characters. I thought the Archipelago is a great setting, so that actually wins best setting. Best plot twist. So we decided that Mal being the immortal is the plot twist that you could see from a mile away.
And after lots and lots and lots of consideration, we decided to put in number 4. Because that seems like a good spot.
Right. So Mal being the immortal is actually very fascinating and could be extremely cool. I will say we get very little, and we've been complaining a lot that we get very little of a lot of stuff in this book because she packs so much into the book. It is true. We don't really get to know her as the immortal for too much.
I wouldn't have hated if she took away, like, an island. Like, if they skipped over an island and we got more of their backstory instead for 10 pages.
Yeah, like, where is Christopher's mom, for starters?
Right,
yeah.
like, instead of, like, they could have skipped over an island.
Yeah, and also seeing Mal as the immortal, it's a huge plot twist, even though we could see it from a mile away, but then we don't get to see her being the immortal at all.
Yeah, before she died.
Okay, villain. Best villain.
Francesco. I'm still not remembering his name.
We can't even remember this villain's name. Sforza.
So if you could take a guess where this guy is going.
Yeah, this guy's in last place.
If you guess number 6, you're right. Because this guy stunk. I don't know who this was. And, like, how to get into this book.
Yeah.
Like, who is this guy?
I think we should say quickly. So he's A, in the book for like all of maybe one page. B, the least scary villain of many villains that I've read. Certainly the least scary of all the villains in our books.
I mean, this is like, come on. This is even worse than Garrus. And I thought no one's going to be worse than Garrus.
Garrus from Percy Jackson and the Chalice of the Gods.
Oh my god, I never thought.
Who wasn't really a real villain.
Right,
yeah.
I didn't think anyone was going to be worse than him. But this guy somehow
as a villain
is worse than Garrus.
Yeah.
Which is rough.
Right. When you create a whole quest like this,
Just to find
Francisco Sforza, like grafted onto a tree, hanging out of a tree, it's not compelling.
Right.
All right. Okay. You want to tell everybody what we're reading on our next episode?
Before, make sure you all follow us on Instagram and X at Bookwards Pod.
Yep.
And our next episode, we will be reading Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger.
We hope you read with us. Please do.
And we'll see you next time on Bookwards.